Alright, good morning everyone. So today's the day. I sell the S2000, so this is kind of be like a one take, things that I think good and bad about the vehicle. So we're going to go for a little jaunt here. And again, my last video was kind of going through the car. You know, how good of an S2000 this is, and it did sell to a guy in Jersey. So yeah, today's the day. So we're gonna go through some of the good and some of the bad of this car. Kind of more of a documentary for me. So let's talk about the car. If you guys didn't see my last video, this is a 2006 Ap2 Honda S2000. So I've had the car for a little bit over a year. Probably put about 1,000 miles on it, and overall it's been a good, reliable car. I mean, what else? It's a Honda, so nothing new there. But I mean, this is not going to be a full review. I mean, there's people that'll do it better than I, and Savage Geese, he does a good review of the car. So I'm just gonna start to talk about some of the pluses about the car. So hands down, the shifter. So when I was looking for a car, kind of like a weekend toy, I was looking for, you know, a 6-speed, you know, something that's going to be affordable, that's kind of fit the bill. I've owned a lot of cars, including an Audi R8, and that was one of the best shifters that I've ever driven. That was a 6-speed as well. And the Honda S2000, roll the window up here. It's a great shifter. It's engaging. And this one has low miles, so it's really smooth and doesn't get hung up or anything. So that's one of the pluses about this car. Like I said, it's convertible 6-speed. It's something I can enjoy on the weekends. It's just been a fun little car. So the shifter being number one. Obviously, when you say Honda, reliability, that's huge. The reliability of this car, like I said, this thing will go for 200,000 miles to keep up with the maintenance, and that's a selling feature as well. You know, when you get these high-end cars, you're always worried about it breaking and all the maintenance bills, but you know this thing's going to turn on every time as soon as you keep up with the oil changes and all the other stuff, and the reliability you can't beat with the Honda. And then the value. So this car is holding its value like no other. So, you know, I paid a good amount of money for this car with the low miles. Like I said, I think I bought it with like 30,000 miles on it. Like I said, it has 31 or 32,200. So I put a little bit over, you know, a couple thousand miles on the car. I might have actually bought it with 31, so I can't remember, but I know it's been around 1,000 as far as how much I've driven it. So, so the reliability, the value, you know, that's a great proposition when you're looking for a car that you want to have fun with, holding its value. Now these cars, even with high mileage, are going for, you know, upper teens. So the cars are holding their value pretty strongly, and you know, if you get something with like low miles, I mean, you could be looking around, you know, upper 20s, if not 30. So the value's there, and it is a nice feeling to know when you have a car in the garage, you're not driving it, it's not depreciating, it's actually appreciating. So it was also kind of bittersweet too, because you never wanted to drive the car because you wanted to keep the miles down. So, you know, the other thing is, like, you know, I'm not going to take this and just start putting thousands of miles on it, because I kind of bought it as an investment. If I would buy another one, probably not likely. I would probably look for something in that 50 to 60,000 mile range, so I could just rack up the miles. I wouldn't care. But overall, you know, the value's there, and as you guys know, if you guys are watching this video, you know, these cars are just holding their value, like, because there's nothing like it. It's very engaging. There's not a lot of, like, you know, driver aids or nannies or whatever you want to call it. It's just kind of everything's kind of driver focused, positioned at you. And obviously the engine. This is the Ap2 version, 2.2 liter. I believe it's 240 horsepower at 7,500 RPMs and about 161 pounds of torque, around 6,500. So It's not the fastest thing, but this thing's pretty light. It does get out of its own way. I wouldn't say it's the fastest thing I've ever driven, obviously, but it's not what this car is about. It's like, you know, as a daily, it's just kind of like you're cruising, ripping through the gears. You know, that's what this car is about. I've never driven this car to the 9th, 10ths of what it's capable of. I think I never got bit by this car, and what I mean by that is, you know, I never have the urge to drive it, and that's kind of why the reason why I'm selling it and getting something a little bit bigger for the family. But you know, I'm sure if I took this out to track days, I'm sure I would get bitten by this car. But you know, I'm more of a V8 guy. I kind of like the sound of a V8. That's what I prefer. You know, when I bought this car, like I said, I kind of bought it as a kind of a weekend toy, convertible top, you know, 6-speed, and like a pretty decent engine. Overall, the engine's really strong. And then obviously, like I said, the convertible. That's kind of cool. You can drop the top down on it, and that's kind of cool feature to have on cars. You know, and like I said, that's going to be pretty reliable. The top was never up that much. I did have a hard top on the car that I used for the winter, but the majority of the time it was always stored down. Yeah, overall, like, you know, pretty. There's a lot of things I did like about it. Because let's talk about the negatives. Okay, so obviously I'm 6 foot, like 210, and I'm a bigger guy, and it's tight in here. It's really tight. If you're already taller than 6 foot, I don't know if you're gonna like this car. You know, it is small. It feels like a rattle trap. I remember when I first got it, I feel like, man, if I get in an accident, this thing, I'm gonna die, because it's so small, so tight. Yeah, it's with the top up like it is now, it's not that fun to drive. Like I said, it's rattly, especially when I had the hard top. It was always creaking and cracking, and it just doesn't ooze quality when you're driving the car. Okay. Some other negatives is the sound. I don't think I've ever had a 4-cylinder that I driven and was like, man, that sounds amazing. It does sound pretty good when you get into VTEC, but overall, like the exhaust is pretty much non-existent, and I'm not gonna chase, you know, an exhaust on this car. You know, I'm just not gonna do it, because I just feel like it's hard to get the sound out of a 4-cylinder. You know, I could be wrong. Maybe there is an exhaust out there that doesn't drone and it sounds good, but you know, I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars chasing the exhaust, and then ultimately it's a 4-cylinder. You know, so in my opinion, again, I only feel like anything with maybe possibly a V6 and above is gonna sound good. So the sound is a kind of a letdown for me, because if the sound was there, you know, I think I think I would hold on to this car a little longer. But you know, when you get up into it, I mean, just a lot of noise, a lot of, you know, hear the engine revving and everything like that. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like, man, that sounds amazing. You know, it's not like an R8 V10. I know it's a different class of car, but you know, the sound is important. The storage is abysmal. Like, you could barely fit anything in this car. The pockets, the cubbies. I mean, there's reviews on this car about the lack of storage, but I mean, this is not a daily. I mean, if you're daily in this car, I mean, I guess it could be daily, but I don't think this is a good daily car. This is a good car just to, you know, nice day out, put the top down, rip through the gears, and have fun with it. What else here? A couple notes here, almost done. Again, like, if you're not driving this car to, like, its, you know, its high, like, its potential, I should say, like, you know, this car needs to be revved out to have fun. That just is what it is. I mean, you got to rev it out. You got to be up through the RPMs to have fun with it. And if you're kind of just putting around town, it feels like a Honda Civic. But like I said, when you get up to that VTEC, it does feel a little special when you get up to that higher end range. You know, that's what I'm gonna miss. So, but like I said, you really got to be pushing this car. And you know, with it being reliable, you know, obviously you have build quality. You know, it's like when you sit in this thing, is it a great place to be? No. I mean, the gauge clusters, it's kind of hokey, I guess, with the digital speedometer, but I guess that's what the heritage came from the Formula One cars, I guess. But you know, I mean, overall, this is a good little car if you want to have fun. It's not a daily, in my opinion. It's a car that's going to hold its value, and you know, I think for the right person, it'll be fun. But like I said, coming from what I've came from with like V8s and things like that sound really good, and you know, you put an exhaust on it and it just puts it over that level, and it's, you know, I don't know, I feel like this car, you know, I got it out of my system. I had one. Will I ever own one again? I don't know. I doubt it. But you know, like I said, for what it is, I think Ap2, if you're going to get one, is the one to get. It's more sorted with everything, with the tranny and some of the suspension changes they did. But like I said, I just want to make this video as kind of a documentary, or just when I look back on it when I had the car, you know, why I sold it and what was good and what was bad about it. But you know, overall, I think, like I said, if you're looking for a weekend car, a 6-speed, more importantly, that it's a convertible, I think it could be fun. Are there better cars out there? Yeah, I think there is, but I think they're going to be like, you know, double the price. And then can you find a 6-speed convertible? I can't even think off the top of my head, other than maybe like a GT500, or no, wait, maybe a Corvette, or a Mustang, I guess. A Ford Mustang, I think they come in convertible. But you know, again, Honda reliability, but again, it kind of misses the mark for me. I know there's a cult following on these cars, but you know, back in the day, I was a Honda guy. You know, I drove Honda Preludes and the first gen, second gen. My first car was a Honda Civic, so when I got in this car, it was very familiar. But you know, so it's time to let it go, and you know, it would have been nice to take it on a track day to see what this thing was capable of, you know, other than, like, you know, revving it in a straight line. But it was a good car. So today I'm selling it. It's got to get inspected by Firestone, and if everything checks out, it's gone. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video, and say bye to Honda S2000. So thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it.